Cold Case, an Angelica Dale Mystery by P.K. Armstrong. Chapter 11. After reassuring Stormie that I believed her, I took my leave and headed out into the rain. I had questions. I needed a quiet moment to listen to our interview again and take notes on what I needed to confirm and additional directions the investigation was taking. It didn't bother me that Stormy had lied to me. Having a witness lie to me meant something different as a private investigator. As a cop, when people lied to me, they were worried about going to jail for something or were trying to keep someone else out of jail. As a private investigator, having a witness lie to me additionally could mean that someone felt guilty or was embarrassed about something in their past. That's probably why it didn't bother me that Stormy lied, because that is the exact vibe I was getting. The change in her stuttering, depending on the topic, was a good indicator of where I needed to start. I was hungry, as we had talked past my lunch hour, but I didn't want to go back to the Rolands just yet. I felt unsettled, which was often the result of interviewing a victim. Wait, a victim? My statement, even though not spoken aloud for anyone's ears, shocked me. Stormy wasn't a victim, was she? My inner vision was cloudy, possibly due to something Stormy said, but I realized that my hunger could make my thoughts just as fuzzy. I stopped at a local eatery, ordered a hot ham and cheese sandwich, and as a concession to healthier eating, sweet potato fries. Back in the car, I worked my way through town and arrived at a little spot Roland had taken us on our previous visit. The antiquated carnival games and farmers market were closed, but the dreary day, hilly backdrop, and the abandoned hiking trails were the perfect setting for the solitary thinking I needed. Unfortunately, by the time I finished eating, the only thinking I had accomplished was realizing how much I missed Christopher and Violet. I smiled at how much my single life had taken a 180-degree turn. I had never thought much about my future, whether or not I wanted to marry or have children. I was always of the mind, if it happened, it happened. But when I thought of Christopher and Violet, I wanted more. The power behind those feelings rocked me sometimes, and I faltered, slightly fearful, but usually a smile from Violet or a squeeze of Christopher's hand steadied me. Here, I had neither. Looking at the time, I decided to call Christopher. He probably wouldn't have time to talk, but hearing his voice briefly might just provide the focus I needed. I dialed Christopher's number. Hey, Angel, how are you? Hi, fine. Busy with class? Christopher was clearly snacking because he stopped chewing to answer. No, actually, we have a speaker coming in after lunch, so we gave the patrolman an extra 45 minutes. Guest speaker? What is the topic? Christopher chuckled. Vulnerable citizens. Vulnerable citizens? I thought your class was on preserving initial crime scenes. That sounds more like a patrol issue. That is what the chief said, but I pointed out that the review board determined that last year the stabbing by a vulnerable citizen was mishandled from the beginning, not just after the victim was removed by paramedics. If we give patrolmen the tools they need, they can control the scene from start to end. The chief agreed to a guest speaker now, and then a more extensive training later. Wow, Christopher, what a great idea. You are really excelling at this training. Thanks, but I can't take credit for the idea. He laughed. Your mom is the guest speaker. I laughed. Should have known. Police interactions with members of the public who suffer from mental illness is a subject close to Mom's heart. I'm glad you guys were able to get together to educate the officers. How are you doing, Angel? His voice had softened, and I began to feel tension I didn't know I even had begin to release. I just interviewed Stormie Gyles. How did it go? She gave me some background on the employees at the club. What did you think of her? She's nice, soft-spoken, cautious, and I hesitated. And she withheld information about her relationship with Derek. Actually, I think she withheld information about herself as well. What makes you think that? Her stuttering. Whenever she spoke about something that bothered her, she began stuttering. How convenient. Right? I said with a sad smile on my face. You have interviewed plenty of people who lie to you or who are less than candid about themselves. What's bothering you? I sighed, realizing he was right. People lied to me all the time. Although I hated it, I had come to expect it and relied upon my subsequent investigation to reveal the truth. In that moment, I knew what was bothering me. It's what she lied about that bothers me. Derek is dead, and from what I can tell, he was the last of his family. There is no one who would care about who he was having an affair with over 40 years ago. And why was she so cagey about her own activities at the time? I believe her when she said she didn't kill anyone. So who was she trying to keep from hurting? That is strange. Usually, with a cold case, you get lots of information from the person who hired you and have to wade through fact versus fiction. Of course, she had no problem realizing that some of her ideas were perceptions, and after that, the interview itself went smoothly, except when she had to speak of one of the servers, who she suspected of having an affair with Derek, when she spoke of Derek's business, and when I asked her to tell me about her daily routine. They were quiet for a few seconds, and then Christopher responded confidently. You'll get to the bottom of this one. I'm glad you are so sure, I said sarcastically. You know you got this. I could hear his smile. He changed the subject. Where are you? You sound like you are in your car. I am. I'm at Wingate Park. Really? It's not open. No, but it's peaceful, and I have nice memories here. We miss you too, Angel, Christopher said quietly. Tomorrow night is game night at your mom and dad's. Your mom is hoping we can take Violet's mind off you being gone. He paused. And my mind, too. Nice. I'm going to call her when I get back to your folks' place, but I will call tomorrow night, too. So, are you in your car because my family is driving you crazy? It's only been a day, Christopher, and I can't imagine your family driving me any more crazy than my own family. Even Jacob? I laughed. Even Jacob. I just needed time to absorb the interview. Then I needed to talk to you so you can tell me what's bothering me. It was Christopher's turn to be sarcastic. Glad I could help. He paused. As much as I've enjoyed hearing your voice, I should probably go. Oh, yes, I've interrupted your lunch and you have a special guest coming. Christopher, thank you. You've helped immensely. You are welcome. We'll talk to you tomorrow? Until then, I disconnected and, glancing at the time, noted it was still too early to call Violet. I put my notes and voice recorder in my messenger bag and placed it on the seat next to me. I decided to make my way back to the Rolands. I had more information to add to the board in my new little office.